Happy Friday, though, because of what is going on in our country right now. But like we've already talked about a lot on these lives, is that unfortunately, because our judicial system and criminal system fails, and not only criminal system, but our political leaders, all involved, failed to take any true affirmative actions to provide more protections for our citizens, we are going to continue to see these mass shootings. And if any of you are keeping update on the trial of Nicholas, who was a mass shooter who killed 12 people at a school, you guys will see that the jury voted to not give him the death penalty. So only basically there was only one hangout, one person who voted against the death penalty. And if there is any case that would be worthy of the death penalty, the case regarding Nicholas, who shot those 12 people and killed them, that would have been a case worthy of the death penalty. But he got all away scot free, and all he's going to do is spend life in prison for the rest of his life. So you see, like this, how America's so soft on crime. We are going to continue to see these mass shootings. But today, we're in North Carolina again. We just did a story about North Carolina. I did one a couple days ago regarding two teenagers that were brutally shot by another teenager, a 17-year-old boy in North Carolina. I don't know what's going on in North Carolina, you guys, but something is going on over there and it's pretty sad. So today, guys, a 15-year-old boy, I don't know how he got a hold of a gun, but you see, even our Supreme Court and justices, they're just so gung ho about protecting the right to bear arms. And that's why we keep seeing these mass shootings. It's okay to protect the right to bear arms. I'm good with that. However, I think given the evidence of all of these mass shootings, the justices and our political leaders should at least have some type of sense to create parameters and rules for people to abide by if they're going to have a firearm. Because look, we keep seeing these mass shootings, and not only that, but we should have very harsh consequences for these type of crimes, and we don't in America. There's too much soft on crime reactions. And now look, guys, today a suspect 15 years old is in custody because of a mass shooting in North Carolina. And he started out, guys, by shooting his own brother, who was 16 years old. He killed his own brother. That's how this whole thing started. So the shooter opened fire in the state capitol on and near a popular walking trail in North Carolina on October 13th. Sorry, so that was yesterday. That was actually yesterday. But they're publishing it today, which is weird. See, North Carolina is weird. They publish their things a day late. It should have been published yesterday. But anyways, the gunman believed to have killed 5 people in North Carolina. He's 15 years old. How did this 15-year-old kid, you have to ask yourself, how did this 15-year-old kid get a hold of a gun? This is the reason why we as adults, if we're going to have firearms, need to make sure we lock up our guns, because this is what happens when 15-year-old kids get a hold of firearms. It's just like, come on, parents, do better. So the gunman believed to have killed 5 people in North Carolina in America's latest mass shooting. And he's only 15, guys, and he is now in critical condition after being shot by police. So in addition to all the people he shot, one of the people he killed was an officer who was off duty. So this kid was just a loose cannon, and they ended up shooting him. So now he's in critical condition. We don't even know if this kid's going to survive or not. But 2 more people were wounded in the Thursday night shooting. Oops, sorry, guys. Let's try to get this out of the way. 2 more people were wounded in Thursday's night shooting, the motive of which remains under investigation. Relay Police Chief Estella Patterson told a news conference. So not only did he kill 5 people, he wounded 2 more people. So in total, he shot 7 people. She said the fatalities included a 29-year-old off-duty police officer who was on his way to work. That is so sad. He was just on his way to work and an officer gets killed. Now, when officers get killed, jurors are more likely to vote for the death penalty. So because he killed an officer, he probably would have a high chance. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if North Carolina has the death penalty. I have to look that up. But if North Carolina has the death penalty, he's more likely to get it because it seems like jurors are prone to vote for the death penalty when an officer is involved who loses his life. The 4 other victims were a 16-year-old boy and 3 women aged 35, 49, and 52. And clearly this 15-year-old kid lost his mind because he just went out shooting random people. I heard from some other sources that the 16-year-old boy was the 15-year-old boy's brother and that he shot him first, and then after that he just went on a shooting spree. But who knows? A 59-year-old woman who also remains hospitalized is in critical condition. That's the 6th woman who was shot. And just the governor saying that it's a nightmare of every community has come. But a lot of these governors and political leaders, that's all they ever say. They just sound like a broken record because nothing they say really, they don't really take any subsequent actions to try to, stop this, impart laws, make laws, create laws that are going to have stricter consequences, and also make sure that each state has some type of requirements for safety in storage of firearms from our teenagers who are, hormonal and they have certain emotions they're still trying to get through. And this is the consequences of just giving firearms to our youth. We shouldn't be giving them to our youth. Oh, there he goes. This is senseless. This is horrific. I really don't even want to read his stuff because he's not going to do anything about it. He's just going to just whine and cry, and then he's going to go about his day like nothing ever happened and not try to do anything to create change. And so we will see this mass shooting again in the future. The shooter, who was identified only as a white male, opened fire in the state capitol on and near a popular walking trail called the Neuse River Greenway. Ms. Patterson and other officials gave few details of how the mass shooting unfolded. After an hours-long standoff in a house, the boy suspect was shot. So after he shot those people up, he goes into a house and he refuses to abide by the officer's abide by the officer's instructions. So they had to literally shoot this kid to take him into custody. So he was shot, and then they took him into custody, and now he's in critical condition. So who knows if he'll even survive? I don't think people even care because of just how horrible he was to all those people that did nothing to him. These were just random people that he just went up and shot and killed. Gun violence is an urgently pressing problem in the United States, but again, nothing's done about it, where more than 34,000 people have been killed by firearms so far in 2022 alone. Can you believe that number? 34,000 people have been killed by firearms in just this year alone. That's sad. That is sad. 34,000 people? Clearly it's a problem. More than half of them were from suicide. Oh my goodness, guys. More than half was from self-conclusions. No! I told you this year was going to be a high rate of self-conclusions. I knew it. It's so sad. Help us, Lord. And this is according to Gun Violence Archive website. The North Carolina shooting occurred after a jury earlier in the day. Listen to this, guys. The North Carolina shooting occurred after a the jury early in the day rejected the death penalty and supported life imprisonment for Nicholas Cruz. Nicholas Cruz is a kid who shot and killed 17 people at a Florida high school in 2018. And he was just now being prosecuted for it. And you see these kids, they see that people that our jurors and our judicial system is so soft on crime. And he probably even saw this case that this kid, Nicholas, who shot 17 people, they didn't vote for the death penalty. They just gave him a little life imprisonment. And they see how soft we respond to mass shootings like this. So what happens? They just go out and do it again because they're like, oh well, look, that person Nicholas, he didn't get the death penalty. He just got a life sentence. Oh well, I can go out and kill people and I'm not going to really get much of a consequence. So I'll go ahead and do it. Right after the jury voted for not giving this guy the death penalty, here comes a 15-year-old kid who goes out and does a mass shooting. Now, he didn't kill 17 people like Nicholas did, but that's crazy. When you think any case where a death penalty would be warranted, it would be a case where someone killed 17 people. Wouldn't you think that would be like a logical case? It's like the poster child case of when the death penalty would apply. But a jury literally didn't give him the death penalty. So it's like, this is the problem. We don't give these serial killers or mass murderers any consequences, really. I mean, going to prison, yeah, that's harsh conditions, whatever, but some people, they don't care about whether they're in jail or not. That's the thing you have to realize. They don't care. And a lot of the conditions in our prison systems are not as bad as you see in other countries. Other countries are worse. They force their inmates into actual labor. They have to work. They have to do a lot of labor in the prisons in other countries. And if you kill somebody in another country, more than likely there's gonna be the death penalty for that person. More than likely, even if it's just one person they killed. In America, you literally can kill 17 people and just get a life sentence. That's what happened in Nicholas Cruz's case. So right after that judgment happens, the 15-year-old kid goes and shoots up 7 people, killing 5 of them. Now, I'm not saying those two stories are correlated. Who knows if the 15-year-old was sitting there watching this case with Nicholas. But probably, you never know. You never know. But you can clearly see, common sense will tell you, they know there's not much consequences for these type of crimes. So that's why we keep seeing them. Mass shootings have repeatedly stunned the nation, reigniting debate on the divisive issue of gun control, which will never be resolved because Congress is too soft and they don't care and they will never do anything about it, because we'll have some people on sides claiming it was the other political party who created these mass shootings to try to push their agenda, when that is not the case. These people who are going out and doing these mass shootings are not on a political side a lot of times. A lot of them are suffering from some type of sociopath, psychopath, maybe even narcissism, aggressive narcissism, and overt narcissist who just has a total disregard and lack of empathy for human life. So nearly 400 million guns were in circulation among the civilian population in the United States in 2017, or 120 guns for every 100 people, according to the Small Arms Survey Project. So again, as you guys know, I don't like North Carolina because North Carolina, they don't post the picture of the suspects if they're under 15. Whereas other states will post it. If you're a mass murderer and you're under 15, like for example, Florida, they're gonna post your picture. They don't care if you're 15. I mean, look what they did to the kid who stabbed Tristan. They posted his picture all over the place. And that was before they transferred his case to adult court. His picture was already online. Whereas in North Carolina, they're always hiding these type of suspects who commit these inhumane crimes. All right, let's take a look at this news report and see if we can get some more details about this sad tragedy.
With this horrific mass shooting in Raleigh, North Carolina, police report a 15-year-old suspect shot 2 people in a residential neighborhood before fleeing to a nearby walking trail where he continued to open fire.
At least 5 people were killed. Officers arrested the suspect last night after an hours-long manhunt. Earlier today, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper addressed a community in shock.
Today we're sad, we're angry,
Oh gosh.
and we want to know the answers to all the questions. No neighborhood, no parent, no child, no grandparent, no one.
Do you really want to know the answers, Governor? I get so tired of these fake politicians. who come on, the media and they give these fake speeches like they really care. But if you care, your actions will demonstrate that. Okay, your actions will show that. And I have not seen any actions from our political system in general who have that have taken any proactive steps. In fact, we're taking steps backwards in trying to protect our citizens because we had the justices rule against New York in some of their laws or one of their gun laws when they were trying to provide some type of safety parameters for people to own guns. The justices struck that law down. So it's like you're taking a step backwards, and it's like, how does this is the thing I don't understand about our laws. How does a 15-year-old get free access to a firearm, right? But yet our judicial system gets in a frenzy if a underage person who's under 21 years old drinks alcohol or smokes marijuana. Like the contradiction here. It's like you're making this huge deal about underage drinking, which again, I'm not for that. I'm just giving an example, guys, of how our laws are so backwards and contradictory. It's like the laws make so much huge deal about underage drinking, and there's these harsh consequences if a kid drinks under 21. But an 18-year-old kid can go get a firearm with no parameters, no requirements. They can just walk in and buy a firearm. And now we can see 15-year-old kids and other underage kids have free access to firearms because a lot of these laws in the states, they have no laws requiring gun owners to put their guns in a safety box or a locked box or, out of reach of our children. And so our children are able to get these free access to these more conservative states like North Carolina, Texas, Florida, those type of states. And you're seeing all these huge mass shootings. It's like, make it make sense. But I'm sorry, I just get so annoyed by these political leaders. Let's hear this guy give us a fake rant because I don't believe anything he's saying.
Should feel this fear in their communities.
Authorities say the suspect was taken to the hospital where he is listed in critical condition. CBS News correspondent Elise Preston has been following this from Raleigh. She joins us now with more. Hi there, Elise. So what more do we know about the suspect and the victims?
Well, Elaine and Errol, good afternoon to you. We are right in front of this hospital here where one victim remains in critical condition. I can tell you that 59-year-old woman is turning 60 tomorrow. It's her birthday tomorrow.
Oh, man. He gonna shoot this poor woman the day before her birthday and the day before a monumental birthday, her 60th birthday. This is so horrific. And there's no logic to it. It's like he didn't even know this person. He just walked up to this innocent person and just wanted to rip the life out of her for no reason. This is how sick our country, our world is. And it's just, we need to pray for our country, you guys, because it's not getting any better. It's not. It's like every left and right, we're seeing mass shootings. We're seeing, domestic violence, all these different violent crimes that are just, I guess I chose a good topic to talk about on this page because there's so many stories to cover. It's literally, you have no time to cover every one.
But she is here fighting for her life, according to police. Meanwhile, we also know that another victim who was wounded is an officer. They were also released from the hospital. 5 people were killed. The youngest.
So that's crazy, guys. This 15-year-old kid, he shot 2 officers because one officer died and one is in the hospital. That is crazy for a 15-year-old. I really want to watch this and study this case closely because I want to find out this kid's background. What was going on with this 15-year-old kid and what's going on with our kids in general? Because lately in the last few years, at least from 2021 to 2022, there has been so many teenagers committing mass shootings, teenagers killing their parents, teenagers killing other peers like in Florida. And then we just had the 17-year-old who killed the boy and the 14-year-old girl that we talked about. We had a mass of teens getting hands on guns and accidentally shooting their friend and then shooting themselves. There's so many teen killings. It's really gotten out of hand. It's like, what is going on with our youth is the biggest question right now. What's going on in our households? What kind of proactive treatment are our parents doing in the households or lack thereof that's leading these kids to feel unnoticed, unheard, and then literally losing their mind because kids don't have the coping skills and reactive skills that, some adults don't even have either. You know what I mean? But, a lot of kids, because they're still working on trying to control their impulses, a lot of kids are impulsive and they can't control their reactions to type of trauma in their life, and they sometimes feel like they don't have control in their life because they're having to obey whatever household they're in with their parents, and they can't escape whatever tormenting living conditions that they may be living under.
This victim killed was just 16 years old, and we're hearing more about the other victims who were gunned down by that alleged suspect. A family member has identified one of those victims as a mother of 3 who often ran in the area.
It's chilling, Elise, because the suspect opened fire on a trail, right, where people go to relax. That sounds so horrific and brazen, and we're speaking on a day after.
Wow, that's crazy. So these people went like on a walking trail, and he chose an area where people were going to get tranquility, working on their mental health. Because you have long careers and you want to go to a place to kind of relax, exercise. He chooses that area to open fire. This is crazy. It's like I feel like the enemy has truly been roaming the earth and overpowering and consuming these people and causing them to go out and commit these murders, because a lot of times I've been looking at some of our recent killers. For example, Nicholas, the Nicholas Cruz, the one that got away with killing 17 people literally just recently. In his interrogation videos, he was talking about how he was hearing voices. When he said that, I immediately knew that was Satan. He was hearing voices, I believe, from the enemy. He was saying he was hearing voices, and there were evil, tormenting, satanic voices telling him to kill people. And so that's what the enemy is doing. He's getting control of our youth, and he is speaking into their minds, and he is overpowering them, and he's telling them to go out and commit these murders. He's tormenting these kids. And I seen another kid, the other kid in Florida, who brutally stabbed the young girl, that case. He also was another kid who, when they had a hearing about his case, he was on video and he was talking about hearing voices and how he couldn't stop hearing the voices. That to me really triggered in my mind that these are spiritually led mass murderers, that the enemy is getting into the mind of these kids, and he is encouraging them to go out and commit these murders. He literally doesn't give them any peace of mind because he's constantly talking to them 24/7 about murdering people and giving them visions of murdering people and how this is the best thing to do. So it's just really, really sad what's going on in our country.
After a decision was made for the Parkland shooter, Nicholas Cruz, and 2 days after a decision was made for Alex Jones to pay relatives of victims from the Sandy Hook shooting, America is traumatized by this. How is the community there even trying to process this in Raleigh?
Well, Errol, the governor last night, he said that alleged gunman, that he terrorized a relatively quiet area for hours as he was on this active shooting spree, and police were trying to catch him. And you can definitely see and feel those sentiments that you also just pinpointed: fear, devastation, sadness, shock. But also what we're seeing here in this community is numbness. I spoke to a man who is a father of 3, and I said, I'm so sorry that this is happening in your community. And he said, it is happening everywhere. This is
And we're wondering, what is going on, you guys, in North Carolina? What's going on? Because earlier this month, I believe it was when in North Carolina, those 2 teenagers were killed by another teenager. So I'm wondering, what is going on in North Carolina that are leading these teenagers to go out and just shoot up other people? I'm really worried about North Carolina.
course, the latest mass deadly shooting here in the United States. The state of North Carolina has seen 18 mass shootings this year, and the year is not.
Wow, did you hear that? North Carolina has seen 18 mass shootings this year alone. What is going on in North Carolina? If anybody lives in North Carolina that's watching this, can y'all clue us in on the dynamics, on what's going on? Like maybe you guys know, like of what can explain the increase in the uptick of mass shootings in North Carolina? Because I mean, yeah, that's a lot, 18 mass shootings. And I, usually don't see too much coming out of North Carolina. I mean, yeah, we hear here and there, we hear some shootings, but it seems like there's been a lot more going on in North Carolina. So I'm trying to figure out what is going on in North Carolina that has led to the increase in mass shootings.
Out. So a lot of people just processing. They're also questioning how did this even happen? Even though that we're continuously seeing this, the alleged gunman is only 15 years old. Police have not said much about him other than that he is a 15-year-old white male suspect. But community members here are questioning how did he even get this gun?
Yeah, so
And then we have to wonder too, we get the same similar profile a lot of times. A lot of times these mass shootings are the same description, a white male. So we have to wonder what's going on in the white community households. Are these kids not getting the mental health treatment they need? Are they constantly being spoiled in their households to the point where they don't have any accountability? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what is going on in that community for why we are seeing a lot of the same profile descriptors when we see these mass shootings. There's got to be a reason. You guys got to tell me. I want to know what you guys think.
as this investigation unfolds, we did hear from the mayor earlier today who said action must be taken when it comes to this issue of gun violence. Let's listen to some of that.
Oh gosh, here they go. Come on, is anybody else tired of hearing these political leaders saying the same broken record? Action needs to be taken, but yet we don't see anything happen after these mass shootings. It just goes quiet until the next mass shooting, and then we hear the political leaders say the same thing. I'm just tired of hearing it.
We have doubled our determination now to end senseless gun violence.
Oh Lord, you said that about the last shooting. We have doubled our determination. I can't, guys. I get so tired of hearing these political. This is the mayor. Okay, let's see what Mayor Marianne has to say.
Grips on our country and now on our city. We have to do something.
Oh God, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Mayor? Please tell us your plans of action. I guarantee you, she will not do anything, and we will be back here in a couple months.
So, Elise, what else are local leaders saying about safety in the community? Because this is something we've heard, as you know, time and time again in the wake of these kinds of horrific shootings.
Well, it sounds like gun violence has been a focus here in Raleigh for a while. Earlier this year, actually just about 6 weeks ago, the city exchanged gift cards for guns off the street, and they exchanged about 500 guns for gift cards. But also here in North Carolina, they're just focused on safety in general. What is interesting to note is that the police chief here in Raleigh was not here at the time of the shooting. She was actually in Dallas meeting with law enforcement.
Oh my God, so our police chief wasn't even present when the shooting was going on. Make it make sense. Okay, so
community rallying together after a
so this video I want to go over because they're gonna go over the victims that were taken because of this tragedy. So again, just to go over the facts, 5 people have died because of this 15-year-old who shot them, and 2 others are in critical condition. They're in the hospital. So he shot 17 people. The victims are, I'll give you guys the names. Nicole Connors, she's 52 years old. Susan Carnatz, 49. Mary Marshall, she's 35 years old. Gabriel Torres is 39. James Thompson is 16. So you can see it's a wide array of different ages that have lost their life. And then we have 2 other people fighting for their life. One who is 59 and her birthday is tomorrow and she has to be in a hospital because of this. Oh my gosh, too sad. So let's watch this video that's going to go over the victims involved.
Devastating mass shooting. 5 people killed, 2 others hurt, all said to be at the hands of a 15-year-old gunman. Many people are in absolute shock that this kind of violence has now made its way to our community. Thanks for joining us tonight, live from downtown Raleigh. I'm Steve Daniels.
And I'm Lauren Johnson. An active investigation continues tonight. Just in the past half hour, Chopper 11 flying over the Hedingham neighborhood where this crime spree started last night. And here's what else we know at this hour. At last check, the 15-year-old suspect was still in the hospital in critical condition. We're also just learning the suspected shooter is related to one of the victims killed in last night's rampage.
Exactly.
The motive is still unclear in the shooting, but Raleigh police expect to release more information in the days ahead leading up to...
Sorry, guys, I was trying to pause it. So the 16-year-old boy, James Thompson, that is the suspect's brother. It started out with him. So I don't know what kind of discord he and his brother had, but the 15-year-old ends up first killing his brother, 16-year-old James Thompson. He kills him first. After that, he goes out and just starts shooting up random people. So it's like, make it make sense, you guys. And a lot of people, they always feel sorry for people like this. As soon as they commit these mass murders, everybody's like, oh, well, he had a bad childhood. Poor baby. Oh, look, let's give him all these little medical treatments. Let's take good care of him. And the thing is, you see other people in this country are witnessing how soft we are on criminals. They see that. They see how we're always like coddling them and always babying them. And they're like, oh, okay, well, then I can go ahead and go kill a bunch of people because all they're going to do is baby me too. That's the only thing. You're sending a message to the masses that there's no real consequences. Yeah, jail, but people don't really... Prison is not, I mean, yeah, it's bad in there, but a lot of these criminals, they're sociopaths or psychopaths. They don't care about prison. They just don't care. Okay? So it's like you need to give them harsher consequences.
Their official 5-day report sometime next week. President Biden also weighing in on the mass shooting tonight, saying enough is enough.
Oh, God, here he goes. Guys, pray for me. I'm just so irritated with these political leaders. Enough is enough. Okay, if enough is enough, what are we going to do about it? That's the question. What are we going to do?
And we have live team coverage tonight covering all of the angles from the investigation to the victims.
First, though, here at 5 o'clock, we want to begin with the timeline coming into better focus today. We know the first 911 call came in about 5:13 last night from the Hedingham neighborhood. And we know at least 5 of the victims live in that same area, including 16-year-old James Thompson, 52-year-old Nicole Connors, 34-year-old Mary Marshall, 29-year-old RPD officer Gabriel Torres, and 59-year-old Marcel Gardner, who was injured in the shooting. Police say the 15-year-old began his shooting spree in the neighborhood.
So you can see the photos. I don't know if you can see them that clear, but that's the victims there, at least 3 of them right here. So sad. That's the officer who was brutally murdered. When you put faces to it, it really does bring to light the tragedy that has unfolded.
And then he went to the News River Greenway Trail. 49-year-old Susan Carnatz lives nearby, and we know she was a runner, so it appears she may have been shot on the trail. Police say the gunman then went to a barn on Old Mill Burney and McConnell Oliver Drive, where he got into that standoff with officers and then was taken into custody. We have source information that an RPD canine tracked him to that barn. He's now in critical condition at Wake Med. It's not clear exactly how he was hurt. 911 calls released today, also helping us piece together what happened. Joel Brown here now with that part of the story. Joel.
Yes, Steve, the 911 calls coming in from multiple shooting scenes, starting in that Hedingham neighborhood and then going on to the Greenway. Take a listen.
Yes, sir. We're gonna go ahead and get some help up there. You said he's been shot?
We heard some shots outside, and I looked out my window, and there's the neighbor is on the ground.
You said the attacker's still nearby? Yeah, he's on the News River Trail.
Just horror and hate.
Oh my gosh, you can hear the horror in their voice. How terrifying and in shock they were. That must have been horrifying for those neighbors. I want to go back over that because I wanted to It was kind of inaudible a little bit. So this one, this because I know you guys probably didn't hear what he said. This caller said that someone inaudible came through with a shotgun and shot my buddy. Get here ASAP. That has to be terrifying. This guy had to see his buddy, his friend, get brutally shot in front of him. That must have been horrific. Oh my gosh. So let's go to that part because it was so hard to read. Here, I wanted you guys to see that he had to actually see his buddy get shot. And there was nothing he could do. That's sad.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get some. How about there? You said he's been shot? Yeah. We heard some shots outside, and I looked out my window, and there's the neighbor is on the ground.
So that lady, she heard some shots outside. She looked out the window, and to her horror, she sees her neighbor shot on the ground. Imagine the nightmares this woman's going to have to endure for the rest of her life. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine hearing shotguns and looking out and seeing your neighbor on the ground? That is terrifying. Shot to death? Guys. This is just crazy.
Is Parker still nearby? Yeah, he's on the News River Trail.
Just horror in Hedingham. You can hear the panic in a lot of those calls. People trying to sort through what in the world was happening as they were being told to stay inside and away from the gunman, Lauren.
Thank you. And we are learning more about the mass shooting investigation tonight. Elena Athens joining us live now at Nightdale High School, where the 16-year-old victim was a student. Elena, what else are you finding out tonight?
Well, Lauren, there are a couple investigations going on right now. The Raleigh Police Department are still working to learn a motive, why this happened in that neighborhood. The police department, however, has not confirmed what type of weapon was used, although most witnesses say that it was a shotgun. At the same time, the Wake County District Attorney's Office is also building its case right now against the 15-year-old. The suspect terrorized a community and killed people, including a relative as well as an off-duty Raleigh police officer. ABC 11 learning that
is crazy, guys, that he killed his own brother. This kid must have really lost his mind. And like, where are the parents? We're hearing about all this, but we haven't heard one thing about the parents involved. This is so weird. I'm just like, the parents haven't spoke, nothing. It's just complete silence. Like, what is going on? Make it make sense. This story is crazy, guys. I am very interested in finding out this kid's background of what was going on that led him to brutally murder his brother and then brutally take out all these innocent people for no reason.
a juvenile petition has been filed against him. Wake County District Attorney Lauren Freeman saying in the last couple of hours she fully intends on charging the teen as an adult.
This is the first time that we have had this sort of mass shooting in Wake County in the 25 years that I have worked within the criminal justice system. And so there's no question that, you know, for us and for the community to know that today this many people simultaneously woke up without loved ones because of senseless violence in our community. You know, this is a different kind of case. There's no question about it. But
so the teen is in custody right now at Wake Med Hospital. He has serious injuries after a long standoff with police. At last check, he was listed in critical condition. We're live in Nightdale. Elena Athens, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Elena, thank you.
And we continue to learn more about the other victims tonight. They range in age from 6.
So here's our victims, guys, the 5 that died. And they didn't want to give the picture of James because he's a minor. And if they give this picture, they're going to be able to link him to his brother. Like people in the community, once they see James Thompson's face, they're like, oh, I know exactly who did the shooting because he's such and such brother. So they couldn't show his picture. But these are the photos, you guys, of the beautiful lives taken. Nicole Connors here. So sad. Mary Marshall. Susan Carnatz. Officer Gabriel Torres. Man, he was on his way to work, you guys, and brutally got murdered. Wasn't even bothering anybody. And the brother, James Thompson. This is the brother. And again, the reason why they're not disclosing him is because, number one, he's a minor. And number two, if they do disclose this photo, people in that community are going to know exactly who is involved in the shooting, because they're going to know, oh, that's, whose brother that is. So sad, guys.
16 to their late 50s, 3 of them married, 1 of them preparing to get married.
Oh my gosh, 3 of them married? So he took these beautiful lives away from their husbands, their kids, everybody. That's crazy. What a sick person. What is wrong with our kids?
I want you to look at this right here and take in these words. Mary Marshall's fiance posting on Facebook, "The love of my life was killed last night by a cowardly individual. She was shot while walking our dog. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. My world has been completely destroyed." Diane Wilson talking to Mary Marshall's neighbor. I know the pain is absolutely immense in that neighborhood, Diane.
It really is, Steve. You can see the flags here at half staff, remembering all those victims lost, including Marshall, who neighbors say she was always happy and willing to help out. Her fiance now left without the love of his life.
I consoled him and prayed, and I just know that prayer works.
A heartbroken Sharon McDonald as she talks about consoling her next-door neighbor, the fiance of Mary Marshall.
I hate it for Rob. I really do. My heart goes out to him.
Marshall out walking her dog when the 16-year-old shot and killed her.
Right behind us.
McDonald's home connected to Marshall's, and behind their homes is the Neuse River Greenway. McDonald says Marshall was always there for her.
I never heard her voice go above, and like I said, just always looking out for everyone, or especially us that was right there.
And to try and help ease the pain for this neighborhood, this church here from Wake Forest has come down here for the community, and at 5:30 they will be serving anyone who wants a meal. It's free. They just want to show them that the community supports them, the community is here for them. There's even a dog there, a therapy dog, that is there to give residents, neighbors, just anyone who wants to come out some comfort, to try and help ease that pain from the terrible tragedy that happened here yesterday. Stephen, Lauren.
Yeah, an outpouring of love in a neighborhood that has such a concentration of grief tonight. Diane, thank you. On top of investigating this mass shooting, Raleigh police are also mourning the loss of one of their own.
Authorities say 29-year-old Officer Gabriel Torres was shot and killed as he was on his way.
Oh, that's sad. Look at him with his wife and his baby. Oh my gosh. Like, you just have to ask yourself, what got into this kid's mind to brutally shoot this man? That is sad. On his way to work, and now his little girl has to grow up without her dad. Oh, guys, what's going on? Help me out, guys. What do y'all think is going on in our country and with our kids?
To work last night. Josh Chapin joining us live now. And Josh, we're learning more about the victims with each passing minute and hour. What else can you tell us about Officer Torres?
Lauren, Officer Torres was a father to a young girl. I'm sure that is the title that he wore the proudest. And if these pictures certainly are any indication and tell that story, if we can roll those pictures now, here is Officer Torres, Gabriel Torres, with his wife and his young baby girl, and there's nothing much to say other than it just breaks your heart to look at that photo. Torres had not been on the force that long, just a couple of years from my understanding. RPD naturally is swamped with requests right now, but I've asked them what district Torres worked in for a stock photo or anything else about him, because we just want to tell his story. Torres also served in the Marines. As for what's going on here at RPD, flags flying at half staff, as you heard Diane mention. There are grief counselors also available, grief counselors of all kinds. We saw the Billy Graham crusade here as well. Chief Stella Patterson was walking in a couple of hours ago. She has probably been beyond busy today. We asked her staff if there'd be any more updates today. They said they really want to do another update, but likely more information won't come until tomorrow. We also saw a few gift baskets being dropped off here, so no doubt everyone is thinking about RPD as they continue this investigation. So as soon as we do find out more about Officer Torres, about who he was and how long he has served here. Well, not just that, just what kind of officer he was. We'll, of course, bring that to you. Lauren and Steve, back to you.
Yeah, yesterday, Josh, the lieutenant with RPD said that the entire community needs to thank an officer, and we all have to wrap our arms around that community tonight. Josh, thank you.
And we know another Raleigh police officer was hurt in this chaos last night. He's been identified as 33-year-old Casey Clark. We're working to learn more about him and exactly how he was hurt. We know he has been released from the hospital.
And we went back into the archives tonight. It's been 3 years since another Raleigh police officer was shot in the line of duty. That was 2019 when Charles Ainsworth was critically wounded after being shot multiple times while investigating a stolen vehicle. He did return to work in 2020, and back in 2016, Officer C.N. Chandler was shot while helping a landlord with an eviction near Lake Johnson. That was a case of friendly fire. Officer Chandler also survived his injuries.
So yeah, guys, I just wanted to share the victims that were involved. This is truly a sad developing story. I hope we can hear more details about exactly what led to this. There had to have been some type of just discord between him and his older brother that kind of sent him out on a frenzy. This is just so horrific, guys. Please just keep all these beautiful families in your prayers, and just, man, my heart is broke for these people that were completely innocent people. All right, take care, guys. God bless. Toodaloo.